Why choose Kelly Chevrolet? We offer a wide selection of new and used inventory with a team that guides you to your perfect fit. Our certified pre-owned options ensure peace of mind with warranties and rigorous inspections. Competitive pricing, flexible financing, and convenient trade and services, making your dream Chevrolet a reality. Trust our experienced service team to keep your vehicle in top shape, and enjoy free car washes as long as you own your vehicle.
And welcome in, everybody, to the Summit City Sports Report number 45 on the year. I'm Jeff Mahoney. We've got Tim Atkinson and Coach Keith Edmonds in the house with us. And wow, guys, just to start off, what a great last couple of days, let's say last 5 days for Southside, pulling off the win against Woodland on Saturday and then a huge win at Lures this past Tuesday. Did that surprise either of you guys?
Yeah, with the way that South has been playing and the complete team that Coach Foster has really gelled together, no, I'm not surprised. Southside can beat anybody at any time. And, with everything on the line, they had to win that game to at least have an opportunity to get a piece of an SAC crown. They had to win that game against Lures, and they did just that. Yeah, I was very impressed with the win. But to say I was shocked, I was not shocked. I guess I would say that Lures would have been the favorite in that game, but nothing Southside doing the rest of the season after the first 2 weeks has surprised me at all.
No, I wasn't surprised at all myself either. Southside's been playing well. They've been flying kind of under the radar a little bit, but coach has done a tremendous job, and these kids are. They're responding. They're all bought in, and they've put together a nice season.
Yeah, and that one blip on the radar in the SAC, December 20th against Northrop, I know they would love to have that game back. If they have that one game back, then they're sitting with just one loss in the SAC, and they'd have an opportunity to be an outright champ if they beat Wayne on Friday. But it's going to be an outstanding game Friday with Wayne and Southside. Southside's got to beat Wayne, and then they got to hope that Wayne is defeated by Concordia in their last SAC game next week. If that's the case, and Homestead and Lures both win as well, and Southside wins next week, then you got a four-way tie at the top with all four teams having 2 losses.
Yes,
well,
it's unprecedented.
Absolutely. You go back to that December 20th game against Northrop, and that was just a game where really both teams had a hard time getting their shooting going, and Javon Irby brought Southside back into that game. And you see this last game, DeMarcus Barr had a huge one with 20 points for Southside. So really going to be interesting to see how the rest plays out, because Southside and Wayne, once again, you guys got the game tomorrow. These two will be facing off in the same sectional over there with Wayne, Homestead, Northside, and Southside, or Huntington North and Southside. So going to be fun to see how the regular season plays out.
Yeah, it's a huge matchup on Friday. Obviously, it's the coaches versus cancer as well at Southside, so they'll have some extra stuff going on there. I would assume all the coaches are going to wear suits in their gym shoes and that sort of thing. But just another added level to which is already a big rivalry. The two Southside Fort Wayne community schools in the south side of town. With South and Wayne, a lot of kids, elementary school, middle school together, and some go to South, some go to Wayne, just depending on where you break down at. But it's always a hype environment. And then with everything on the line, come this Friday, if Wayne wins it, they're going to be the winner of the SAC for a 3rd straight year anyway. But I expect a huge crowd come Friday night.
Yeah, I do as well. I think it'll be just as big as Lures and Wayne and some of the other big games that we've seen. So I don't think that this will be anything different. I think people are surprised in regards to Southside because, again, like I said earlier, they've flown under the radar. And so I think people will want to get a look at what Southside really has, and what they'll see is tremendous guards. They'll see a rapidly developing Zach Belcher and what he's done and his improvement. And South is they're just fun to watch. I mean, their guards get downhill. They are pit bulls, man. They get after it. So it's fun to watch. And I'm kind of partial. I'm a Terrence Jordan fan. I talk to Terrence all the time, and I see him all the time. And just seeing his development and his growth as a player is something that's special to me as well.
Yeah, absolutely, Coach. Looking at the Northeast 8 conference, guys, right now, Columbia City and New Haven, 5-1 conference records. Leo been having a great season as well. Going to be interesting to see how this one shakes out because it does look like NE8 play is finished. So Columbia City and New Haven sharing a piece of the conference title.
Yeah, that's how the SAC does it. If they didn't, one of them wasn't victorious over the other one head to head. I'm not sure if that's how the NE8 does it as well. Every conference has their own set of rules. But yeah, right there. So Columbia City did defeat Wayne on a head to head. But yeah, Columbia City, they got an outstanding junior. They're a very talented team there in Columbia City. New Haven, they play with a lot of youngsters. They're only going to get better and better under first-year head coach Applegate. It's going to be a tremendous season looking forward to next year. But they're definitely not satisfied. I think they're are they at the Homestead sectional? I believe. Let me check. No, they're not. Where are they?
Sectional 20.
Oh, they're in 3A. That's right. No, Columbia City is in that one. New Haven's at the Bellmont, sectional 22, which they can definitely win that. That's kind of a hodgepodge. Bellmont, Heritage, Mississinawa, New Haven, and Norwell, and then Marion comes up from Marion to play in that Bellmont sectional. So more travel for Marion, but it's New Haven can win that sectional. There's no question about it. Columbia City can win that sectional. It's going to be interesting to see how those shake out. But, the way that they do things now, I mean, when it comes to regionals time, both in the boys and the girls, we're almost guaranteed 3 to 4 Northeast Indiana teams to be in a regional, just the way the sectionals are. So it makes it nice for us to be able to pre-plan and know exactly that we're definitely going to be going somewhere, like we're going to Marion this Saturday for Snider and McCutcheon at 4:00, and then Homestead and Hamilton Southeastern, number 1 and number 3 in the state, will go at it in the 7 p.m. game. So, yeah, it's exciting when you for sure that some Fort Wayne teams can make it. You love it.
No doubt. It's always good to see our kids that we get exposed to all during the course of the season and get to follow them in the tournament play. That's always fun for us as well.
Yeah, guys, and looking at the ACAC, Woodland, they actually won the head-to-head against Bluffton earlier this year, 45-29. The Tigers have been turning it around, but Woodland, one more conference game remaining here, and it looks like they could pull off in the conference championship.
They have a dynamite scorer in Rady. He does so much for them. I believe he's committed to St. Francis. I believe it's St. Francis. I'd have to double check that. But I know
Yoder going to Indiana
Yoder. I'm
Tech.
sorry, Yoder. Thank you.
Rady was last year. Yeah,
Rady was last year. Yeah, Yoder. I apologize. Yeah, Yoder, the lefty. He's an outstanding player, and he can get buckets in masses. There's good basketball in the Allen County Conference. There's no question about it. The wins-loss records overall, it's always going to be tough on the ACC because they're playing a lot of the Fort Wayne teams and the SAC teams, and playing a lot of the NE8 teams, which are it's high-level basketball. You heard Cal Neednrip, he was on a podcast just the other night talking about, Fort Wayne's always got teams that you're going to have to prepare for because they're coming to regionals, and you best be ready. If you're not, you're gonna get blown out of the gym with the talent that we have.
And what I like about this conference, they have a conference tournament. I just like that. And they've never gotten away from, or as far as I can remember, they have not gotten away from having a conference tournament. And again, something that we're lobbying for, a holiday tournament, and hopefully we can have some sort of tournament like that in years to come.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, now we're going to welcome to the show head coach JJ Foster with the Southside Archers. Coach Foster in his 8th year at the school and really enjoying his best season at Southside so far. 14-4 overall record, just outstanding. This is a program that started off the season with 6 straight wins to open the year. I believe it was the last team in the SAC to be undefeated on the season, but Coach, congratulations on a great season so far. I know you got one more conference game and then the postseason to look forward to, but kind of your thoughts on the season to date.
No, it's funny. You read off the record. I mean, first off, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Always a pleasure to talk hoops with, all the legends on here. But
there's just one. He's at the bottom right.
Hey, all you guys, I appreciate everything you do for high school athletics. And you got, well as I do, when you're born and raised here, athletics are everything. And like I told somebody earlier on the interview, Hoosier hysteria. I mean, it's in my DNA. But Jeff, you talked about, the record, like I said, the wins, I appreciate the wins. It's the 4 losses that, they were tough. And those are the ones that I'm thinking about that we let get away. But I told the kids at the end of the day, if we can learn and grow from each of those losses, I'm fine.
Yeah. And Coach, obviously that December 20 loss at against Northrop really sticks out. That, I'm sure you have some sleepless nights over that, because you'd be right in the, Wayne, you defeating Wayne tomorrow night, you would put yourselves in the driver's seat. But now you're going to have to beat Wayne and have Wayne get defeated against Concordia next week to have a chance at sharing a title. But going back to the beginning of the season, how did you think, and was the team chemistry? Because when I've seen you guys play, the team chemistry just seems outstanding. It seems like the kids really love playing with each other. They love playing for you and your staff. Was that a work in progress, or did that come pretty easily in the beginning of the season?
Well, you just said it, Tim. Anybody that saw us play last year, you saw those guys were in 9th grade. Majority of my guys were 9th graders. And they went out there and they scrapped and they competed. And just that, them guys, they love playing with each other. They share the basketball. They are very coachable, just some young dogs. At the end of the day, people better be lucky that these guys, if they were 6'2", 6'3", it'd be completely different around here. Right now, a lot of times we just undersized.
Yeah.
We match up when you get some teams that have size, your Homesteads, and even over there Lures. We could be in the right place, the right time a lot of times, but they've got guys that can just shoot over top of you. But no, these kids, they put their time in. They play together in the off season. They cheer each other on. Nobody talks about stats. They're not worried about who's doing what. They come out here and they just play. And that's the little guys. And then we talk about my big guys. The Belchers. Zach, as you saw, his progress coming on. The first couple of years, and then he had a couple of injuries. And this past summer, him and his brother, they kind of committed and worked out. We've been doing a lot of stuff with, I give Anthony Beasley a lot of credit. Been working out with those young men, and they came back, and obviously makes a tremendous difference when you put him out there with those dogs out there chasing people around, and you got Zach down there holding things down on the inside.
What's up, Jay?
Hey there, Coach Edmonds. What's going on, sir?
I'm good, man. I'm proud of you. You and I talked this past summer, and I said, man, you what you're looking forward to with your group. He said, and you said, rather, I got a good group, and a lot of people don't know about our kids because they were 9th graders, as you said earlier. But times that I've gotten a chance to see you play, and I've seen you several times, your guards are dogs, man. I tell you what, they get downhill and they don't care who's there. They're going through them, they're going over them, and then you got Belcher, the development that he's made as a player. I can't say that you're surprised when you told me this past summer, that you expect it to be pretty good.
Now you're exactly right, Keith. And like I said, the one thing, like I said, I appreciate everything you guys do for high school sports. But the one thing that's funny and people don't get, last year we won 7 games, but we lost anywhere from 8 to 10 one-possession games.
Yes.
So therefore people, you don't get to go watch Sports Center each night and get to see the backstory. They just look, oh, Southside lost. They won 7 games. They weren't that good. And that's what I kind of just chuckled to myself, knowing there were games that we were in full control. Had we handled things differently, we come out on top. So you're exactly right. I was optimistic coming into this season, knowing the growth that I had. And Cadell Wallace, was our point guard, tremendous player. But what he showed a lot of load on his own, and he took that onus on himself. But I knew, this year with Terrence Jordan, his maturity, he wasn't ready to do that last year. So Cadell had to. This year, Terrence, he put that time in. He's grown physically. He's a lot more mature. Him along with Javon Irby, and then even Corte, put the ball in these guys' hands. They kind of balance it out and spread that work amongst multiple people. And so I just kind of had a premonition, I guess, Coach. Get lucky every once in a while with your predictions.
Well, if Terrence Jordan doesn't remind you of his daddy, the way he plays, the way he sees the floor, the enthusiasm that he plays with, and again, reminds me so much of his dad, and love to make a great assist, and I just love his development and how you brought him along as a player, and I tell you what, he's going to be something else, and he's going to be a problem the next couple of years as well.
Yeah, the one thing I say about that though, Keith, and I know his dad won't get mad at me for saying it. His dad can shoot it the way Terrence can.
True. I hope his dad is listening too. He couldn't shoot. Yeah, Terrence Sr., you couldn't shoot it like that.
Hey, Big T, I ain't gonna take it that far, but hey, he's a better shooter. And I'll say this too. I appreciate Terrence Sr. and grandfather and Terrence's mom. I mean, Terrence grew up going to my basketball camps, and they was, he was at everything that we were doing. And, a lot of people, pick over us and pass over Southside. They, from the beginning, said, hey, he coming to you. And, hey, kid came, he's in our feeder, and he came. And, I'm appreciative that he did, like you said, and getting to watch that kid's growth and development. And really all these guys, we established a relationship. They came, was coming to our events and things even prior to getting to South. So, yeah, I'm appreciative.
And Coach, this past game here against Lures at Lures, a huge 8-point win that you guys had. DeMarcus Barr had an outstanding ball game. Talk about, I mean, you have what, two seniors on your roster, Coach. Who's the leaders that stand out for you in a game like that at Lures? Is it Barr? Is he a vocal leader for you guys? Does he lead by example?
Man, now you just hit something, Tim. Actually, none of these guys talk as much as I would like for them to talk out on that floor. But as far as energy and effort and having each other's back, definitely. And again, they all play together as far as team accountability. I'm trying to get them to be more, take more accountability on that floor. Quit looking over at me. I want somebody to step up. And like I tell them in a minute, I don't care if I tell you to do something and you do it wrong, long as all 5 of you guys are doing it, I'm cool with it. It doesn't have to be what I say. But as far as they all again hold each other accountable, it's just a group effort. When you want to talk about energy, when Corte Wallace comes into a game, I mean, you talk about firing guys up just offensively and defensively. That goes a long way. The rest of the guys, they just kind of, they go out, they play with such poise. That's the other key, is the poise. And that's what people don't understand. These guys are little, but when you look at Terrence and Irby and Barr with the poise that they play with, I mean, they go and get to spots that they want to. I joke with people. I say they're doing things that, guys in college do. There's a lot of high school players that can't do that, pick their spots and get to where they want to go. So you're not going to speed them up. You can't strong arm them, which, we have, these guys are little, but a lot of, some of these football guys think they're going to strong arm them. They're not affected by that.
Coach, talk about the development of Zach Belcher. Well, both Belchers, but obviously Zach is more prominent of the two. and his development and how he's come along as a player. Did you see this coming into the season? Are you pleasantly surprised, or, just kind of share a little bit of your thoughts about him?
Okay, well, hey, I gave you a history lesson, and this is what I have to, I've talked, and I mean, me and him and his dad have had conversations. When he first came over, you got to go back to 8th grade. Memorial Park was rolling over people. They were beating people by 50. Zach could get a dunk a game. That'd be his only 2, but everybody talk about how great he was because he had a dunk in middle school. So I went, in the championship of middle school. I tell the story all the time. Zach had 3 points, a putback, and he hit a free throw. They never looked at him. He just run around. Like I said, was a big guy. So like I told Dad, now he comes over to Southside, and even as a freshman, I've got expectations for him. He's not just a role player. He's not just going to be a big guy. Just put in his time and his work. And Zach, I mean, has just a thirst, wanting to get better. And as you see, I get people all the time too. I'll say, hey, why is he shooting all them jumpers? I said, hey, he's shooting jumpers because he shoot a high percent. That's one of the things we do. We track, and, what guys do in practice when you shoot. We're not just going through drills. And that's the thing. So I tell people, and I tell Zach, as far as dribbling the ball, shooting the ball, you have to do these things at a high clip. We're not just going to be out here just shooting and you can't shoot. But if, he's shooting a high percentage in practice, you've earned the right to shoot that thing. And one of the things that we're working on now, though, is just understanding, when to take that jumper, when not to take that jumper, when to put it on the floor, when to pick it up and give it. But I love it, though, because as you said, I told him, there's no screaming, no hollering. These are our conversations that we have. And like, I'll tell him, I said, hey, Zach, look, I know you can dribble, but I've been there, and Coach, you've been there. You get a big guy that's so intent on showing people that I can dribble. I said, hey, look, I know you can. You know you can. So now I've got to talk to you the same way I talk to my guards. You can't dribble through 3 people. If you dribble, you see people coming, pick it up, get it to somebody, then get it back. And that's where we are. And as far as his maturation, like I told him, just that decision making, when to do some of these tools and things that he can do. And once he gets that down, obviously there's still a whole lot of room for improvement. But if his improvement from this past summer to now, next year, sky's the limit.
Yeah, to your point, 57% from the field. That'll get the job done, no question. What impresses me a lot, though, him, probably Kellen Pickett, Danny Kelly, just natural shot blockers, I think, are the top 3 that I've seen all year long, and not just the Fort Wayne schools, teams that are coming in from out of town as well. When you look at Belcher, you've been coaching for a long time. You played yourself as well. Where do you put Zach as far as just being a natural shot blocker with his timing, blocking shots with both hands? Where do you put him at on maybe a scale to 1 to 10? Are you impressed as much as I am?
No, you know what? Hey, Tim, I'm impressed. And I put him at a 7.
Okay.
He could be a 9 or a 10 when he learns to stay down. We're working on staying down and go up and get it once the ball leaves somebody's hand.
Right.
That's what great shot blockers do. They're patient. They wait. You can shot fake all you want, but as soon as that ball leaves your hand, I'm gonna get it. Zach, and he'll tell me. We had these conversations. He gets caught up in the game where he wants to jump at everything. He jumping at 5'7" guys. Like, Zach, stay down, man. You don't need to jump. Stay down.
Jeff just played a highlight of him doing that.
There you go. So these are things, and again, he's taught that. There's a whole bunch of stuff that he's taught. He's trained to do. But once you know how it is, that popcorn gets a pop and you put fans in the stands, now it's up to him to figure out, why he's not doing what he's been trained to do. Yep. And, once he gets that down, again, to me, I chalk it up to just about getting games under his belt. Because regardless, he's a junior, but he hadn't played a lot of basketball. And that's the thing that people don't understand. The more game reps, he didn't play this past summer, as far as AAU. So, again, the more reps he gets, the more comfortable he's going to get. Better for us and not good for other people.
Right. Yeah.
So Coach, what would you like to see, and going towards the latter part of the season into tournament play? What's some of the things that you'd like to see, or some target things that you're pointing towards to give your team the best opportunity to win that section?
our kids right now is just really being locked in and focused for that full 32 minutes. I take it to the Woodland game. Yeah, we average. That's one thing too. These guys take care of the basketball, man. I mean, they, as you see the way we get out and they pass and share it, we take care of the basketball. We came out up 17 on Woodland at the half with the ball. Typically we draw something up, we execute. We should have been up 19. We turned the ball over like 3 of the first 4 possessions of the third quarter. Very uncharacteristic of us. So that, like I told them, we have to be locked in. And that's just it. Like I said, when you got guys that play with poise and their confidence is through the roof, sometimes that's a detriment because they come out, they aren't scared of anything. And sometimes it's like they get lax with that, but it's like, hey, no, I need you guys locked in. I see what you can do when you're locked in. So I say number 1, is our focus. And then 2 is defensively. We're talking about, Zach as a shot blocker, but when you mention kids like Pickett and the Welker kid at Homestead, the Woodland, other bigs are giving him trouble. I needed to be a point where we can shut guys down and get stops. And the same, even with my guards, things that we're working on is not ball watching, where we're often help side, keeping guys in front. And as always, rebounding. If you saw that Lures game, I mean, there's a stretch where they shoot, they miss. They were playing volleyball with it, getting it back, kicking it out to Twins. And one of them shoot it, he missed. The other one get it, kick it out. We got to make sure that we're boxing out 5 guys and rebounding. So just cleaning stuff up like that, and put it in a nutshell is defensive principles and boxing out, rebounding.
Hey, Coach, that sectional that you guys are in is it's a small sectional. It's only 4 teams, but my goodness, you guys, Wayne, Homestead, and then Lawrence or Huntington North. You're going to play all 4 of those teams or all 3 of those teams. Is that now you've gotten beat by Homestead? You got Wayne coming up Friday, and you got Huntington North. What's that? On Saturday. So
this whole week, yeah.
It's basically a mini sectional that you're playing right now. Do you think that's an advantage for you and your staff and your club, or how do you look at that?
Yeah, that's funny. I just told one of my assistants today. We're watching some film here in the office, and they were talking about 3 inches of snow. And I told him, I said, if it snows and we don't get that Huntington game in, I said, if we have to replay it, it'll be next week. I said, based off the draw, if we have to play Huntington, that's a game that we're not going to play that, because I'm not going to play somebody and turn around and have to play them again. Right. I said, and like you said, to your point, with only being a 4-teamer, if they're on the other side and we potentially are not going to play them, then yeah, we go ahead and get it in. Hey, to answer your question, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. We've been doing it all year long. I used to hate when New Haven, before they dropped down, that's our last game that Thursday. There was some times we turn right back around and play them. I didn't like it like that, when it's right back to back. But as long as there's some time in there, it gives you an opportunity to watch film, and you do get a chance to see how you match up. And so it's going to be an advantage to all of us. There's that familiarity there. Yeah. Typically in sectional, you picking up, you looking at film and who does this, who does that. I think everybody, when we go in, everybody's going to know each other. So,
yeah.
Coach, you talked about the great improvement from Zach Belcher. What about his younger brother, Zacharian? How's he been coming along with the program?
Man, Zacharian, hey, love him. Hey, kid is strong as a bull. Hey, he goes out there and if you watch him, he sits down in that post, is a big target. When he's on and finishing, hey, it's a thing of beauty. But again, that's what we're working on: finishing consistently, defensively, being focused, and being able to guard people. Like I told him and Zach, the problems that we run into is teams, if they don't have another big, or they've got a big, like we talked about, your Pickens, your Welkers, who are out on the floor on that perimeter. I'm like, hey, if you guys want to play, you got to be able to bend your knees and sit down and be able to guard one of these guys. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, we'll be at a disadvantage. So, when you talk about improvement, things, to work on in the future, that's one of those things. But right now, I mean, as far as Zakarian, we call him Peanut. He hey, been proud and definitely is a key cog in what we do. There's been a lot of games Zach has gotten in foul trouble or has gotten off to a slow start, and we put Zakarian in, and he plays well. It provides valuable minutes.
To piggyback on that real quick, Coach, is that one of the main reasons that you're trying to instill into Zach on staying on your feet is because he gets himself out of position, and then that's where it leads to those 1 or 2 fouls per game that'll get you to that 4th foul or 5th foul instead of ending the game with 3 fouls.
That's exactly right. Yeah. I mean, one of the worst things kids can do is put themselves in harm's way. And that's it. I've seen, I've had a couple of my guys have got off to great starts and then they do silly stuff on the defensive end. Now you got to sit because you got 2 fouls in the first half, so that's how I kind of, bring it to them. So, hey, you should want to be on the floor and I want you on the floor. So let's play defense and let's play it smarter.
Sure.
Coach, what's some of the, and you can answer this in the best way you can in regards to your assistant coaches. How do you utilize them during the course of the game and kind of talk a little bit about what their role is in development of your kids and your program?
Oh man, their role, any program, I mean, you're as good as your assistants. And that's the thing. I hold my assistants' feet to the fire. And Keith, I use myself as an example. I tell them all the time, hey, I was an assistant before I was a head, because a lot of, I got some young guys on staff and they look and they think that I just been a head coach all my life. I'm like, look, I'm not putting any more expectations on you guys than Al Gooden had on me, or than I put on myself when I was an assistant. Obviously, TJ, he is such a young talent, knows the game well. And here's the deal: he's still in his 20s. I said, man, you in your 20s, they used to have to kick me and the kids out because we stay after we work and put that time in. But that's exactly what he does. There's a lot of one-on-one stuff with him. Vernon Johnson is an old veteran. Vern been with me all my stops ever since I've been a head coach. He does a lot of behind the scenes work. He's that big brother that talks crazy to the kids, and but always has them ready. And then the addition of Mike Ayers and Mario White, same deal. Mario works with young people, through city life. So he has that relationship, and our relationship with these kids is not just on the court, but off the court. Big Vic has played at college, and he comes and he works. I mean, he takes it personal when working with the Belcher boys and what they do. Sometimes, if they're not doing what they're supposed to do, I'm turning to him. That's who I'm cussing out as big. I'm not getting on the kid. I'm getting on the man that's supposed to be working with him. But, and then the same too is Marcus Felker has been with me too. I think he played for you, Coach. He either played for you or Miles. I was gonna say way back. He talked about his Elmhurst days, and just as a neat guy. And again, we've got like I said, family oriented folks that work with kids, and that's one of the first thing I tell my parents, when we first start this at the beginning of the season, is we know X's and O's. That's a part of it, but bigger than that is these folks genuinely care about your kids. We do as a staff, and I think Tim says you can see the kids playing, and that's real. I mean, it's a genuine love for these kids, and they know we'll do whatever for them.
And my last question, Coach, Friday night, tomorrow night, I expect it to be one of those absolutely lit environments at Southside. It's always something special, Wayne and Southside. It always adds more when both teams are at the top of the SAC. Do you have to rein your kids back at all when it comes to a big game like tomorrow night, or you treat it like any other game? Are the kids super excited for it? You got to rein them back?
Well, hey, it's going to be interesting because, Mother Nature kind of has taken everybody out of their norm. So yesterday nobody was allowed to practice, at least in Fort Wayne community. We weren't allowed to practice. And then today they had e-learning, so they didn't have school today. So This is definitely, we're out our norm. And this is one of the things that kind of like I tell the guys, when you go to a holiday tournament, you know, it's about who is going to get things back to normal quicker, you know, which team is. And tomorrow, I think, you know, my kids this whole year, I mean, they responded. They love playing at home in front of the crowd. I haven't had to reel anybody in. It just really helps them rise to the occasion. So I hope that's more of the same. And the fact that it is at home, you know, kind of helps. So
Absolutely.
Well, Coach, thanks so much for joining us. We're just about out of time here, but we wish you all the best of luck here as you finish up the regular season stretch. Some big games coming up. You got Wayne, Huntington North, and Blackhawk on February the 22nd. So those are 3 of the 5 games remaining, but great season so far. And we wish you the best of luck going forward.
yeah, I appreciate it. Again, pleasure being on.
Yeah. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Jay.
Okay, guys, now we're going to bring on to the show the head coach for the Snider Lady Panthers, Coach Reggie Tharp, in his 3rd year at the school. And wow, Coach, Tim and Keith did your guys' sectional this past week, and you know, you lose to Northrop by 10 in the regular season, and then in the sectional championship, you get the win when it matters most. So congratulations on that. That's the 4th year in a row that Snider's heading to the regional game. That's really impressive.
Yeah, turn your mic on.
You're muted, Greg.
Sorry.
There you go.
Can you hear me? Sorry about
Yeah,
that.
we got you.
Thank you. We definitely appreciate that. I said before, just credit to the players that we had in the past and our coaching staff. We're trying to keep that culture over there, winning culture, making sure that we're playing for each other. And like I said, last year's group had a lot to do with that. So yeah, we're definitely grateful to be in that position.
Yeah, Coach, you guys are kind of in the middle of a revenge tour right now. You got a couple of them off your back in Carroll and Northrop, and then you'll get a chance on Saturday against McCutcheon. Before we talk about Saturday's game, you've had been the pleasure to coach one of the best players that we've had in the state of Indiana, in Jordan Poole. And now you have another, we're getting, I guess, the once in a generational sayings getting kind of played out at Snider because they're coming every 3 to 4 years. But talk about Janaea Cooper and, how much of a talent she is, and kind of compare. I mean, obviously complete different player than Jordy. But where does she sit? Where can you see her getting to?
First of all, to start off, she's a great kid. So that and having good parents tells you everything about her. Very, very coachable. Just like every day wants to get better. We got to kick her out of the gym. So we'll have like this 2-hour, maybe 2.5-hour practice. And afterwards, she just wants to get more work in and more shots up. So she's definitely a gym rat. And I could see as the season progressed, how she was starting to get more and more comfortable with our scheme and things that we wanted to do. Kudos to her, because coming from playing middle school ball to high school ball is completely different, and there's a ton of different terminologies. The biggest thing that you got to look at too is understanding the scout. And then like a hard thing for her was, watching her mistakes on film and trying to get better from that. So she's picked up all of that and done that. And, as far as where she could end up, I mean, the sky's the limit. When you look at her, with her size and her athleticism, she definitely has the body and athleticism for Division I basketball. So, it's scary because she's only a freshman. So it's crazy. Like, and I had to kind of adjust my lens dealing with her. I mean, because you look at her and you see this big specimen, and you got to realize, oh, coach, she's only 14, So,
Yeah.
We've adjusted a lot in the way we coached her and the way we communicate with her. And I think it's shown on the court, and she's definitely gotten better and progressed each and every day.
Coach, when you talk about your team and first of all, your coach, you said something about the culture. I know the expectations for you never change, But what was the overall feeling? You lost 2 Division I players, and obviously CC losing her as well. What was the thought process coming into to this season, and because no one was really picking you to be, definitely not to be a sectional champ. What was the mindset coming into this season?
First of all, I had to adjust my lens. And what I mean by that was I was used to coaching that group for like 3 or 4 years, even being an assistant under Akila. So the first thing as a coach, what you have to do is adjust your lens and then adjust expectations. Now, obviously, we want to win every game that we can, but I mean, being realistic, when you lose the class that we do, you got to understand that you're going to take some bumps and bruises. But going in, like I was really, really encouraged through the month of June, and the month of June that we played very, very well together. And a lot of that was the seniors understanding like what I wanted and communicating to the underclassmen that were coming in of how we do things. So my expectations were high, and obviously we had, a hiccup in the road where we lost like 4 or 5 straight. But those are still teaching moments to me. And I think, once we broke down and found the problem areas and looked at ourselves and at our program from top to bottom and made the adjustments, I mean, now, the kids are starting to get it, and it's a complete buy-in right now.
And speaking of getting it, I mean, Coach and I have been so impressed, and I'm sure you and your staff at Sanaya Sandlin has absolutely just elevated over the past month. It seems almost like she's got another pep in her step where she's going after every rebound. She's showing really good patience in the post with her pivots. She's showing that little baby jumper from 12 to 15 feet. Talk about her progression since you had her last year transferring in to Snider.
Well, I mean, another great kid, great family. Just wants it. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody understands, she transferred from Homestead, and, Homestead is stockpiled with talent, and, she didn't get the opportunity that she wanted there and came in and has just been, everything as far as like senior leadership and communicating to the girls. And it's a good story because it shows like if you stick with it, and have some stick-to-itiveness and keep grinding and trusting the process. We always tell our girls, trust the process. Like if you trust the process, you're going to see the product out on the court. And I think she's a main component of that. Just kept grinding every day, grinding each and every day, working hard. And last year, she started for us the first 7 games. And then, Tia obviously came back and she took a lesser role, but she was willing to do that and to be a good teammate. And that says a lot right there. So she's reaping all of these benefits of the process that we put kids through over at Snider. And you guys are seeing it, like without her, like she was the catalyst that whole sectional run.
Yeah.
She set the tone. She set the tone against Carroll. And then me personally, I thought she had a better game against Northrop because I'm taking 16-11 all day, every day, and that's what we've been getting on her about is rebounding and defensive rebounding and just attacking the glass and having a tougher mindset. And she's definitely shown that she can do that and was just critical in what we wanted to do for this sectional run here.
Coach, and I comment on this a lot during the course of the game. I love your out of bounds plays.
I knew it. I do. This was Coach's question.
I tell you what, hey, off camera, man. Can you send me your out of bounds?
Absolutely. As long as you're not sharing them with other high school coaches.
Oh man, no, this stays in fam.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Can you talk a little bit about, just the development of your plays? So it's and not necessarily what the play is, but how you make sure that certain people get the shots that you want them to get on your out of bounds plays.
Right. Well, we have our basic set of out of bounds plays that we use, and then like what I like to do is come up with counters off of them. So you give teams different. You give them the same look, but it's a different set coming out of it. So I always like to go into a game with our base set of out of bounds plays, and then with like 3 or 4 in my back pocket when we absolutely need to steal a bucket. Also with side out of bounds plays too. But we like to use the same look. So I mean, because it's easy to scout if you go from a box set to a 1-4 set or an offset.
Sure.
So I kind of stick to the script of what our basic sets are and kind of roll off of them. And then I also like to look at if a team is a switching defense, if a team is a gapping defense, and then if a team likes to play a zone out of bounds. That really leads me into what I'm thinking and trying to get done in that game.
Okay, so with that thought process in mind, do you change anything in regards, because McCutcheon's seen you've seen them? Are you going to change anything, add anything, or just pretty much go with the hand you have right now?
Well, Coach, my first year when we made that run to semi-state, we got to semi-state game, and I'm telling you, Fisher's called our sets before we did.
Okay.
So you got to mix it up a little bit, and you don't show everything at the beginning of the season or the middle of the season. So we're definitely going to show them some different looks. I know they were at the game scouting, so you got to switch it up and mix it up accordingly too. Like we'll mix it up according to matchups, who's in and out the game, and then obviously if they're playing man or if they're playing zone out of bounds, we definitely like to attack those different types of mismatches and matchups.
And Coach, before we get to Saturday's game, you have a really great senior class. They played a lot of basketball. They played a lot of travel basketball in the summers. You have girls step up at different times. Bree Barnes stepped up and got some key plays against Northrop, had that last block. Zy Finnessy went from being just a slashing driving guard to giving little 1-foot fadeaway jumpers. And, talk about that group of seniors, of course, with Sandlin and Parker, even when she doesn't have maybe her shot going in that game, is still giving you defensive effort and still looking to help her teammates out. Talk about that senior leaders group.
Well, and I call them the group that got overlooked, because they've been behind that group that was so successful, and now they're thrust into the, the spotlight with, not having the burden of carrying all those expectations. So it's new. But you know what? Like, I love them. I love all my former and past players. I love them because first of all, they can take me coaching them, and that's a whole lot, right? and then second, just the grind. Like they could have folded the towels in, threw it in, and just quit for the season, but they didn't want their season to end. It's a great group, and like on senior night, I had each and every one of them. Talk about some memories that they had, the most memorable memories. And I knew all of them. I remembered all of them. Because, obviously it takes more than one person to win and to be successful. Sure. And this group right here, from Kyra to Zy to Bree to Sanaya, the buy-in is incredible. Like, they're completely bought in. They've been through it. They haven't had the whole burden on them, but they played meaningful minutes and meaningful games. And they understand what it means to be a Panther and to compete in tough games and close games down the stretch in the tournament.
And then you got 2 really good young sophomore guards in Gracie Smith and Miley Hurst, who's one of the fastest players I've seen with the basketball. We've been seeing her since 3rd grade. But, the transfer, the exchange student in Matilla and your freshman in Mackenzie Carter, you guys have, I don't think people realize you can go a lot of different directions depending on what you see on the floor in a particular game. And I've done a lot of games where you've had a lot of different matchups. You'll have somebody go in for a minute. If you're not feeling it, you'll go somewhere else. Is that something you're constantly having your finger on the pulse of what's happening on the floor to change up your lineups as needed?
Yeah. So, and if you notice, like we tweaked the lineup towards the end of the year. And the thought process behind that was we wanted to be a little bit more athletic. We wanted to get up and down a little bit more. And I'm just going to say this. Kudos to Bree Barnes. Like, she started all year. And then when we made the adjustment, the kid didn't quit. She came in the game against Carroll. We don't win that game without her.
100%.
She comes in the game, huge block, huge rebounds, catches it in the post, scores in the post. I mean, and didn't quit, didn't pout. Like anytime you get, demoted or taken out, a lot of kids fold up shop. She didn't do that. And that's just kudos to her. So, and it's a team thing. I think that's when we started turning the corner. Not saying that we had selfish players on the team, but just saying that we had to figure out how to play with each other, and I think throughout the course of the year, they got more and more comfortable with each other. And then that last week of practice leading into sectionals, man, I mean, they just competed their butts off, and the focus was off the charts. And I told them, not trying to be funny, I said, it's the first time you followed a scout from top to bottom. And I said, obviously we know what we're talking about. And they kind of chuckled. They were like, yeah, coach, we get it. So, that being said, with the buy-in and the way that we're just playing together and we're playing as a team. And the biggest thing I always say is play for each other. Like if you're out there playing for each other, you don't want to let your teammates down. Like that's going to be a tough team to put out.
So, Coach, you obviously you have a huge game this weekend in regards to McCutcheon and one of the state's best players and Miss Graves. Can you talk a little bit about what the thought process is? I mean, you've seen them before, and what's the game planning going in without revealing your game plan, but just kind of what the mindset and how you want to approach it.
Well, I mean, everybody knows they start and finish with Lily Graves, Yep. So that's the focal point. That's always going to be the focal point. It was a focal point when we played them in the first game, So I think if you cut the head off the snake, you're going to have a little bit of success. And it's funny how this is all playing out for us. Like my friend told me the other day, you couldn't make this up. Like lose to Northrop, 2 weeks later we lose to Carroll. Then we roll in the sectionals. We beat Carroll. We beat Northrop. Make it to regionals. Now we got another crack at a team that beat us first game of the year. Right. So going into that, like I think the girls are really, really confident because knowing after we played them the first time, we were up 20-21 in that game. Oh. And turnovers reared its ugly head, and the inexperience and not being in the moment, having experience in that moment, it just showed. No matter how many timeouts I called, no matter how many talks we had, is you just got to go through it. That's with anything in life. Like you got to go through it, figure it out, then you learn from it. And hopefully we've learned from our mistakes when we played them. Like looking at them, they match up with us pretty well, same size wise. You got Graves at 6 foot. I think their center 22, she's 6 foot, and then they got a couple 5'7s that play, kind of similar to us. We definitely feel like it's gonna be a challenge because they beat us before, but we do have some confidence going into the game, knowing that we can compete with them.
Mm-hmm. And they've had success, over the past several years, as Snider has. We've seen them at regional several times. Lily Graves, she's a special talent in the Janaea Cooper type of level where, Lily Graves scored 1,000 points in 50 games. She's already 1,000-point scorer, and she's a sophomore. She's a very, very tremendous player. And they also have a very well experienced head coach. What do you look at that at all and think, okay, he's been there a long time, he's got a ton of wins. Do you not even worry about that?
You try not to worry about it, but you do. So obviously, when you're at this, when you make it to this level, you're going to see all good coaching. Yeah. So it's one of those things that you prepare your team to the best of your ability. Mm-hmm. And then you make sure that you always got backup plans if this fails. So, anytime you're facing great coaches like that, it's a headache for me because it's almost like a chess match, as far as matchups, as far as what defenses they're playing, as far as mixing up your defenses, as far as, getting into your sets. Like it's definitely a chess match, and I definitely respect their coach. He's a good guy, and I know he knows the game really, really well. But I just try and control what I can control, making sure I'm prepared, making sure my players are prepared, and they're knowing what they're doing in critical situations.
Coach, starting off this season, 2 great freshmen on your roster and a roster full of a senior-laden roster, really. Did it take a while, do you feel like, for the team to completely gel as you guys had last week? I mean, at the beginning of the year, did you feel some of the seniors kind of, oh, there's a freshman coming in and taking my time?
No, the seniors were great. Like, and they learned from last year's group. And it's just a mixture for us. Like, and what's scary about us is it could be any given person. So, like, the
Right.
bulk of the season, Kyra Parker and Janaea led us in scoring, and then, Kyra kind of went through a cold streak, and then here comes Snider or here comes Zai, So I always envision all of the seniors like right around anywhere from 10 to 12 points a game. And then, Janaea's Janaea. So, like right now, we're starting to get into that, and that's a tough scout. When you got 5 or 6 kids that can give you 10 to 20 points, you don't know who to prepare for, and then that's what makes coaching tough. So you got to pick your poison on who you're going to try and take away. But I feel like with us, we got 3 or 4 kids that can give you 20 if need be. So that's a difficult check, and definitely something that coaches are going to have to prepare for.
So, Coach, when you start taking a look at McCutcheon and what's some of the things that they do well that on the defensive end that you have to prepare for?
I think their length. They don't really play man. I don't think I've ever seen them play man. Out of all the tons of tape I watched this week, they like to mix it up. They throw like a tandem 2-3 zone at you. Then they'll throw a base 2-3. Then they'll go 1-2-2. They'll extend it and try and trap a little bit to speed the game up or slow you down in transition. The big thing that jumps out at you is their size. Like, it's sneaky long, especially when you have like someone like Graves at the top of the perimeter playing on their zone. It makes it tough for our guards because I have a couple smaller guards as well. So that's the tough thing right there, is getting around their length up top. But I feel like if we do that, we'll definitely be able to have some success inside.
Coach, my last question for you, leading in, how early do you guys leave to go to Marion on Saturday? Do you guys get breakfast together, eat lunch together? What's the layout for Snider when you're dealing with the regional and you don't play until 4 p.m.?
So we'll go ahead and we'll have like an hour walkthrough at the school. Then we'll like eat together, relax for a little bit, bus ride. And then it's straight game preparation after that. Like when we get into, like, if we are fortunate enough to make it to semi-state, that'll be when you probably go down early, spend the night,
Yeah.
Make sure you got all the girls by you so nothing's going on, or we don't have any no calls, no shows, or things like that. But so yeah, definitely when you get to like semi-state where you're playing 2 games, you want to be down there early, and then if you win, go back to the hotel, have some time to rest, and then come back and get prepared for that championship game.
Absolutely, Coach. Well, we're going to be there on Saturday, Tim and Keith with the call, and we're going to be the only company in the state, the only broadcast network doing a live video stream of the game. But Keith's got a little surprise for you guys. We're going to give him a handheld mic and let him work the gym there at Marion. You think that'll be okay?
Oh, I think that'll be great. We love you guys. We love what you do for the community and the city. And I'm telling you, like, you can't imagine how many college coaches that I talk to, like, yeah, I saw you on Summit City Sports. And I'm like, oh, okay. So, yeah, but they do a lot of their scouting and recruiting through you guys. And, we're definitely grateful to have you and appreciate everything that you do for us.
Thanks, Coach. We really appreciate that, and we're happy to help out limiting some college coaches' recruiting budget spending. We're here for you, people out there. But we really appreciate you taking your time out here, and absolutely good luck. We'll be rooting for you there down in Marion and Bill Green Arena.
All right, guys, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Reggie.
Proud of you, man. Proud of you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, and Coach Tharp would know, you guys. I mean, he sent a lot of girls to go play college basketball. So he's got the college coaches hitting them up. I believe it.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. Yeah, they're coming to our city anyway. And what Snider's been doing, they're on the map now in the region, not just the state, in the whole region. There's from NAIA to MAC to D1. They're coming looking.
And you took. I'm sorry, Jeff, but if you take a look at a Notre Dame, don't just offer anyone. I mean, they don't do that. I mean, and we've had some kids that we felt like were Notre Dame worthy that Notre Dame wouldn't even return a call. So when you start taking a look at, the type of talent that we have and at Snider and obviously they have a reputation when you send Division I kids, or kids of that caliber to the next level, coaches are going to come because they want to see who the next crop is.
Right.
And Snyder's got, they got some kids coming in next year that are going to be just as special. So it's just really interesting how these kids and the exposure that they're getting. Obviously, the summer helps, but Summit City Sports and what you're doing, Jeff and Tim, and what you guys have done to give these kids even more of a lens for these college coaches is huge.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a great day. I'm so looking forward to making the trip with Tim, and I think we're going to have a fun time on Saturday in Marion. So everybody needs to tune in on the IHSATV.org app and website. Going to be a great day of basketball.
And last thing, everyone, it's free. It's not pay-per-view until semi-state. Do not pay for anything. Do not pay for it. We will be the ones there, and we can give it to you live for free.
There are definitely some scammers out there, Tim.
Yeah, every time we post an event, I mean, it's hit up 3 or 4 times.
Yeah,
and the more you block them, the more they do. So we just stopped blocking them.
Well, guys, it's been a great girls basketball season. Hopefully we'll have 2 more weeks left of calling the games. But, man, really enjoy this Saturday. Should be a fun kind of culmination to the girls basketball season.
No doubt. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Jeff on the camera and Coach and I on the mic. I mean, what else could you ask for? Bill Green Arena, historic. I mean, let's go.
It's going to be perfect.
Yes.
Thanks, guys.
All right. See you, Jeff. See you, Keith.
See you guys.
Well, folks, that does it for our basketball session or section portion of the show, I guess you could say. I got Bryce Shendell joining us now. We're going to bring on Coach Tim Myers here in a second from Bellmont. Bryce, Bellmont, absolutely huge, getting the win over Delta at that Jay County Regional. Homestead, a big win over at Carroll. We knew that there would be 3 teams competing for that one with New Haven and Garrett, and Homestead came out on top. And then you had the sectional over at, was it West Noble?
Yeah, or no, it was the Goshen Regional.
Yeah, it was the Goshen Regional. Northridge getting the win there. East Noble taking 3rd place. But, Bryce, we'll go over a couple of those matches because East Noble was really on the verge of taking a couple weight classes, just some tough semifinal matches. But we're going to bring on head coach Tim Myers now to start. And, Coach, congratulations. You avenged an earlier loss to Delta by getting them when it matters. They're at regional. So that was a huge victory for you guys. Congrats.
Hey, thank you very much. It was a lot of fun. It was, Delta's, they're loaded, and we all knew that. And, they got their kids that it's not a toss-up. They're going to win. They're going to win. They're going to win. They're going to win. And you just got to go in prepared for that and make it a team effort from top to bottom.
Coach, in that regional, what were some of the weight classes for you that you felt like really made a difference to put the Braves over the edge?
Well, you take for granted, your heavy hitters, your Gavin Davises, your Xavier Palacios. But it's those guys in the middle, that could advance, could not advance. And that's what I mean by being top to bottom. You can't just depend on your studs to win a tournament like that. You need to bounce back and get 3rd when your dreams are crushed of being a regional champ, and you got to suck it up and get 3rd for the team. And that's what it takes. And you see, we beat them by 8 points. Mm-hmm. So that's not much at all in a day's worth of matches. So it's, every match matters, and it's especially those ones when you are down in the dumps. And I can't think of another sport that does that. You get beat, your season's over. Wrestling, you got to come back and be strong for your team.
Wow. And
Yeah, those third places.
well, I'm sorry, Bryce. What was that?
I was just saying, yeah, I agree. Those third place matches, those are hard to come back and wrestle. You know, you're going for first place and then you lose, but you got to suck it up for the team. Like, those are huge.
So that's where the team component then comes into play with wrestling for sure.
Absolutely.
Coach, I'm looking at one of your third place finishers here in 126, Gabriel Myers. Any relation to the coach?
Yeah, he's an all right kid. He should be upstairs doing his e-learning right now. Yeah, that's my baby, and he was so excited to get it rolling this year as a freshman. He watched his big brother for several years, and he's finally got a shot to put the candy cane stripes on this year. So he's been loving it.
How's Duke doing?
Oh, he's in heaven right now. He loves it up there so much. And he's getting hammered, but he does some hammering as well. But that's what he wanted. He's been wanting to do that ever since he was a little boy, and he just loves it. He called me. It was like his second day, and he said, "Dad, I'm just shaking right now." And I thought, "Oh gosh, he got hurt." And I said, "Why's that?" And he says, "All these guys, they just think exactly like I do. They all want to be so good." And he was so excited about it, and it makes you so happy as a dad. But we've got 3 wrestlers in our school that are wrestling in the Big Ten right now with Ike Rubel and Keegan Martin as well. So pretty proud of those guys.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Wow, you see Ike Rubel right here ranks number 5 in all-time wins over there at Bellmont. And Duke is over at Michigan State. We noticed the little beanie cap.
Oh yeah. I went to IU, but all my wardrobe's turning green.
Well, that's pretty awesome. Coach, what was it like this season? You open up the year at Snider. We'll open up the year with a win against Wawasee, but the loss on the road at Snider, not a bad loss at all, 39-35 in that duel to open the year. But what was that like for you and your team? I know the year before you guys had handled the Panthers at your place pretty good, but to suffer that loss early on, and then you just rattled off a ton of victories after that, what'd that do for your program?
Well, Snider's tough, and that's why a lot of the teams you see on our schedule they're historic teams. They'll have some down years, but overall, you can expect on them putting out some tough kids. But my team, I didn't know what I was going to get this year. They're a lot of pups. They're young, and I had said I don't know how much winning we would do this year, but I was confident you would see a lot of fire in all of them because they want to win and they want to win now. And it's been good, but again, we put schools on our schedule that are going to push us and get us better in the long run. And it's good. I mean, if you win, it feels good, but you don't always get better when you win. When you lose, you get better.
Absolutely. It keeps you hungry. Bryce, are there any of the wrestlers from Bellmont that you've been following this year?
I mean, I kind of follow them all, and I had this question for him, I told him this question was coming, but just can we expect any more of those like big names? Like, do you have any more kids? Are there more Ferrots? Are there more Bakers or Rubels? I don't ever remember a team where I didn't see any of those names. You got Freets.
Yeah, we do. We've got a couple of Froats in 8th grade. We got a Baker in 8th grade. So
of course you do.
Yeah, they're coming. But that's what we love about Decatur. It's we're a big family, and these kids, wrestling means a lot to them, and it means a lot year round. As I said, with those young kids, they want to win. They want to win now. They finally have their opportunity to do stuff that their big brother did, that their dad did. And there's not much in Decatur. I'm pretty sure you know that. But
got the back 40 junction, right?
Yeah, but they're wrestlers. They can't go there.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, but it's a great group of kids, very supportive families, and my grandma could coach these kids. They want it. It doesn't take a whole lot of coaching because they'll go hard for you all the time, and it's just a lot of fun. They love being on the mat. They really do. I have to kick them out of the room quite often because they just want to keep going.
Yeah. Do you guys like preach that to your kids, like to give back? Because it seems like you guys are always just coming back, like you wrestled for Bellmont, now you're coaching. Farote wrestled for Bellmont, now he coached. Gunstead wrestled for Bellmont, he coached, and you guys, all your kids are going there. And I'm from Garrett, and I remember our coach Luke Fielden always Belmont's always been a staple, and he talked about that a lot and just how. So that was it stuck with me, and so I coached, and now now I'm not. This is my first year not coaching, so I'm doing this, trying to still give back to wrestling and everything. But do you guys preach that? Like, how do you keep those families in Decatur?
Oh, it's a lot of that. If you have ever been in our wrestling room, you see the pictures on the wall of all these guys that have been there, and they help motivate, but they have expectations of you too if you're going to be in that room. But we do. You need to give back, and it doesn't have to be in the wrestling world. If someone helps you, you need to pay it forward. And that was we lost John Freet here I don't know how, 2011, something like that. And he was a guy that wasn't a state champion, anything like that, but he had just given and given and given for decades. And everybody loved him. And that was the big theme, is paying it forward. You've had these guys in your lives for so long that you look up to, and there's a time to give back. And as a matter of fact, before practice tonight, a mother had sent me a video of her son, her 5th grade son, at regional this past weekend. And she was filming him, and he didn't know it. And as the match, I don't even know what match was going, but he was biting his fingernails. He was pulling on his shirt. And I showed our kids that tonight. And I said, this is because of you. And I know you're, 16, 17 years old, but you have quite a platform being a Bellmont wrestler. It doesn't mean you're perfect, but you do have some kids that look to you. And that's, there's a responsibility in that. And you're not just a wrestler. If you wear the candy canes, you have very high expectations for being a good human being.
Absolutely.
That's excellent, Coach. And, going back and looking at the history of the program, I remember when I was growing up in the 90s, I graduated, but Bellmont, once again, was still like the premier wrestling program. Is there one specific person or coach that the community likes to credit with the program's success? Looking back at the history, is it just been kind of a culmination? How does the Bellmont program look back at the history?
Well, for our youth stuff that starts, my advertisement, Gary Geisler is the one he was the first high school coach. And there was a quote on there, and it said something to the extent of, in Decatur, some people look at it, wrestling as life and death. He said, but you have to understand, it's more important than that. And that was in 1968, 69 that they were talking that way. So awesome. That's just the way it's been. Decatur's a lot of blue collar people who, there's not a ton of money here, but they work hard. They expect their children to work hard. But, there's a lot of names over the years, your Paul Gunsets, your BJ Farotes. But it's not just one person who has made this program. And like I said, I think my grandma could coach this team because it's just an expectation. you go out there and you represent the Braves with pride.
Nice.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, I just wanted to go through a couple of these results with you. Homestead taking the Carroll Regional, New Haven taking second place, Garrett in third. East Side, a smaller school, but they've got some very good wrestlers. Any of those results really shock you when you saw the team results?
No. Homestead, Andy Oberlin. I used to compete against Andy in high school, and he's been working hard. He's got his fort going. He deserves some success. And that's the thing. You get what you put in.
Right.
There's no doubt. And he's put a lot of time and effort in, and he's getting some results. So good job, Andy. He deserves it. Garrett Kraus, I think the world of that guy. Wanted to beat him at Team State, didn't do it, but again, he puts the time in, and they get results. And I know Fielden's right there with him. Look up and down that list. It's not by accident that they're towards the top. They put time in, and you put quality time in, you're going to win.
Absolutely. Bryce, do you have another Bellmont question?
Honestly, it's more kind of for you, Coach. I mean, you have a pretty decorated career, if not one of the best that came out of Bellmont. And just talking to a couple of probably your friends or whatnot at Team State when you guys were wrestling Garrett, I was up there with a couple of Bellmont guys. I had a great spot, and they all of a sudden, like 6 of them crowded around me. But so, I mean, they just said you weren't very happy with couple of your results and everything, but you got like 5th, 1st, 3rd. You went it 3 times or 2?
I was an individual. I was a 2-timer.
Just a 2-timer.
Yeah,
pretty incredible. So how do you?
That's a 50%, man. That's 50%. I got an F.
Well, that's what they were telling me. They're like, dude, it was the craziest thing. Like, he was just gonna, in all of our minds, he was going to be a 4-timer, and it sounds like you had everything to do it, But how are you using like that experience to prepare your kids,
Well, it's, you have that father coach thing, which in any sport, that's not easy. Where's that line where when you become coach, when you become dad? With Duke, I was very clear when he started. I mean, this is not you being the next Tim Myers. This is you being the first Duke Myers. And the same thing with Gabe. Gabe started this year thinking, well, I need to live up to Duke. I need to live up to Dad. And I said, no, this is your path. This is your career. And to be honest, I'd say if I was a freshman at 126 back in the day, I wouldn't have done as well as him. Wrestling was different then. It's so much more technical nowadays, and it's tough. If you're gonna be one of the best in Indiana, and I don't think people realize this now, Indiana is one of the pinnacle states in the country, and then you compound that with just being one class. I know people don't understand how difficult Indiana wrestling is. But it's hard, and you get what you put into it. And, just like I said with my boys, in the off season, we travel a couple times a week to Columbus, Ohio, just to get a practice in.
Who you wrestle with there?
Someone that coached me at Indiana University. He was a Soviet national champion.
Oh, that Russian dude. What's
Miran Karslava. Yeah.
Yeah. You do this and you throw.
Yeah. Yeah. He coached me, and now it's pretty neat. 20-some years later, he coaches my boys.
Is he at a high school?
No, he does his own academy. He'd get fired if he was at high school.
That's what I figured.
I mean, it's the Russian way, and
I've heard stories, man. I've never been in the room with him, but I've heard stories. Like,
and they're true, I promise. It's just like Ivan Drago. It's no different.
Yeah.
It's very, very strict, very technical, but my boys love him, and he loves them as well. And it's worth every penny of it. It really is, even the drives.
Yeah, dang, that's a hike too, man. That's awesome. Is he
Coach,
what?
gives you good quality time though. Gives you good quality time with your sons.
Absolutely.
And I try not to talk wrestling, honestly, when I'm with them, because I just like the father-son stuff. But they'll eventually bring it up. I got my butt kicked, or I had a good takedown there. Yeah, that was good. You want to stop at Culver's? And so it's a lot of good stuff.
Coach, if you're riding with Duke and you're not talking about wrestling, what do you and Duke like to talk about?
Oh gosh, he's a jabberwock. He won't shut up. He likes the NFL. He loves the Patriots, even post Tom Brady years. He loves his little brother. Those two really miss each other, and I don't know, you name it, but you get a 2-hour drive there and back. You talk about really dumb stuff. What's your favorite color? Just good father-son stuff, though, and I've enjoyed it.
Is Gabe pretty similar to his older brother?
He doesn't talk nearly as much because he could never get a word in.
That makes sense.
Yeah, he just sits back and takes it all in. But no, they both love the sport, and as a dad, I'm careful about that. I want it to be something they want to do, not something dad wants to do, and I asked him quite often, is this something that you want to do? And, they're bugging me. And that was always a line is, Miran has told him that. He says, you need to start bugging your parents if you want to be good, not the other way around. And I wish more parents in all sports would be that way. Because you get dads living through their sons and
right,
just stuff that's not healthy. And I mean, ultimately, you want your kids to do sports for the right reasons. And if you do, I think it creates a healthy-minded kid that's quite competitive, and they want it for the right reasons.
Yeah, for sure. Coach, if you had to rank Indiana nationwide, top 5, top 10, is Iowa by far number 1 wrestling state in the country?
No, not Iowa. I mean, they're tough, don't get me wrong, but Pennsylvania, Ohio are the two biggies, but Indiana is absolutely top 10. You look at Fargo results, that's, if you know anything about freestyle wrestling, Fargo is like the pinnacle of high school wrestling in July, that tournament out there. And that's where all your big colleges are recruiting and this and that. But results year in and year out, Indiana's top 10. And as I said, when you compound that with a single class, my goodness, your top 5 guys in Indiana should be getting Division I scholarships, no doubt.
Yeah, Bryce keeps on talking about Marion County and Brownsburg and just what great wrestlers they produce down there.
Oh my goodness. Yes, it is.
Hendricks County, I think.
Oh, Hendricks for Brownsburg.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that's the county.
West Siders, yeah.
Yeah.
Then there's Avon, and then the East Side has Warren and Cathedrals, and it is loaded.
Yeah.
No doubt, but it's great for Indiana wrestling. It is. It's, I said, you get a medal in Indiana, it's a big deal.
Coach, looking at your roster, who's one kid that you feel like has overachieved this year? Maybe that hasn't resulted in regional championships or anything, but one guy that really epitomizes Bellmont wrestling and you feel like has really filled his bucket?
As I look at your picture there, our heavyweight Grady Baker, you say, well, that's a Baker. He must have grew up wrestling. No, Grady started like in 8th grade.
Oh, wow.
I heard he's a basketball player. His family's basketball.
Well, he thought he was.
Made the right choice.
You know, all those bakers, you know, people tease about, Bellmont guys being all one big family in a bad way. But, those bakers, there were like, there were like 8 great granddads in that Baker clan, and they all had their separate branch. And we just started picking branches one at a time, taking this Baker branch, making them wrestlers. And this Baker branch is the newest one. And Grady, that kid, he started, they're all competitive though. Don't get me wrong. They love sports. They're competitors, but Grady started like late in his 7th grade year, was terrible. He was just heavy and he'd roll over, get pinned. But man, he was a competitor, and that kid, he's probably the main one that I have to kick out of the room all the time. Anytime the doors are open, he's there. And we preach consistency, and he lives by it because he never misses. And he also plays football, but it doesn't matter. He finds a way when the wrestling room's open. He's there. And that's not always the case with a heavyweight. A lot of times heavyweights can find ways to get out of practicing because it's too hard.
Yeah, they're seasonal.
It's hot. Yeah. But Grady he's loving the sport, and it's so good to see.
Boy, Bryce, you've talked a lot about this 285-pound weight class. There are some really good wrestlers in the heavyweight class.
Yeah, Fort Wayne's pretty stacked in 285, honestly. Caleb Evans he's came and wrestled the last couple of weekends, and really he's not like dominating. All the matches are pretty close. I feel like he'd probably be better if he got hit with a stall call first period and then had to start wrestling. I think he'd really turn it on. Grady really impressed me at Team State. And then when the guys told me, I was just like, who's his dad? Which Baker is his dad? Because I used to kind of run around with like Billy and Tyler. They were a little bit older than me, but I remember them wrestling my older brother. And they're like, dude, he's a basketball family. I'm like, no way.
Yeah.
Like, no way.
Yep. Yeah, his uncle's the AD, and I don't know that he likes him wrestling, but too bad.
Dude, he could be a medalist, that's for sure. Like kid knows what he's doing. He's pretty good. I got a couple other ticket round matches I wanted to ask you about, like Farote and Tholner. Right. They both got to get through the first round, but I'm excited about that. That's one that's circled on my bracket. At,
sure.
138.
Yep. That'll be a good one.
Tholner's got a gas tank. I feel like he gets taken down in the beginning and every time he's wrestling, but I don't think I've seen the kid lose, man. He just keeps going and going. And I know Farote, he's a returning qualifier. And man, I feel like he's closed the gap with the AUG.
Yeah. I know it. He's never beaten AUG, and those two, it's just how conflicting styles at time. He can beat somebody worse than he beats him, but he just can't get over the hump of him. But Henry, he's a pro. He's I feel good about him. Again, I know the Tholner kid, he's a hammer. No doubt. It'll be fun to watch, but that's what makes wrestling fun. And that's what we try to preach too. Nerves, they're all made up in your head, pressure and all that stuff. But man, go do what you're good at and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Wrestling at the Coliseum is such a neat thing. I love that place.
That's awesome.
It is. It can get a little cold.
Mats are hard.
Yes. But bottom line, just enjoy what you're doing. And you do that, things will take care of itself.
Yeah, my other match was Wolpert and Davidson. I'm excited for that one too. Hopefully Wolpert's hopefully he's healthy and feeling good and ready. But what are you telling those kids? Right before the match or this week? What are you telling them to get ready for it? If you care to share.
No, that's all right, and I enjoy sharing it because it hasn't always been this way. A lot of times it's, this is a big deal, blah, 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 blah. Then they go out there and they crumble. Our room is very light. But you can take that too far too. Don't get me wrong. But when we flip the switch, it gets very heated. It gets intense. People get their feelings hurt.
Oh yeah.
But then when we're done with that, it's back to playing handball and goofing around and all of us being idiots. That's what we do best. But it's fun though. And I think it's light. Our guys are ready to go. They're confident and they're going to do what they do best.
Yeah, I agree with that, man. You're wrestling best when you're having fun, dude. You're enjoying it. That's when your practices are good,
Right. Exactly. So no, I'm excited. I'm excited for him.
Coach, you talked about your heavyweight Baker playing football also. Obviously the football program's fallen on some hard times there at Bellmont. Is that one of those things where you feel like the Bellmont community can get that football program turned around? Because Coach Hall's a great guy. Obviously was a great football player there for Bellmont. You have any insight on that?
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough one because I love Nick. I really do. He's, like you said, he's a great guy. He was a stud himself. But, we talk about that quite often. One thing that I don't ever want to happen is people say, well, I'm not going to play football just so I can wrestle. I mean, because I don't want that to happen.
Right.
If you love football, do it. And, I tell kids too, well, just for example, with wrestling, our JVs, I said, your last day of practice as a wrestler is February 25th this year. You don't, just because you're JV doesn't mean you leave to go to baseball practice or leave to go to track or whatever. You're done when our season's over, but that works both ways. Football as well. If they would go to the state finals, I don't want you coming to the wrestling room until your football season's over.
Right.
But I know that they could do something special. I mean, football's a different beast though too. It takes a lot more kids.
Mm-hmm.
And when they're playing both sides, conditioning gets into play, but Grady loves football. And when he was first talking about wrestling, I said, this is one I am biased about. I said, but there's one sport I know of that will make you better at everything, and that's wrestling. It'll make you better at football.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not asking you to make wrestling your favorite, but let's use wrestling to make you a stud on the football field. And I think he bought it. I think he believes it. And whether you're getting wins or not, at least on football, you can make it into those one-on-one matchups and find little mini victories on Friday nights, even if you're not putting points on the board.
Boy, it seems like Bellmont year in, year out put together some pretty good offensive or defensive linemen. Was it Dylan Velez a couple of years ago? And now you got Baker. Yeah. Gosh, how tall is he? 6'3"?
I don't know. I can't get a ruler up that high. He's a lot taller than I am.
Pretty big guy, though.
Yeah, he is. Yes, he is. He's a monster, and he's getting bigger. Somebody sent a picture of him just from last year to the year and how much he's mature, and it's a pleasure to see, man. I can't wait. I'm curious what he's going to look like at the end of his senior year. Well, you bring up Velez, and Velez is another one I tried to get to wrestle, and I couldn't ever get him to wrestle, darn it.
Yeah, you probably would have had another good heavyweight on your hands there. Bryce and I talked with Coach Isaacs earlier this year at a Snider meet at New Haven, and he was talking about he saw Ethan Dotson came back, a great heavyweight at Snider last year. Oh, yeah. He came back and put on 60 pounds his first year at Air Force.
Jeez.
Oh my gosh. He was huge anyway.
Yeah.
Big
I
guy.
bet that was 60 good pounds too.
Oh, yeah.
Probably.
Good looking offensive lineman for sure. Well, Coach, one of the guys here, I'm really excited about this 165-pound weight class. I cover a lot of football, and Riley Biddle's in this class. He actually took third place at the Goshen Regional. But talk about Gavin Davis a little bit. He's having a heck of a season for you.
Yeah, he is. And Gavin, he's one of the most special kids I've ever coached. And I've been doing this 25 years. And, one of the things I preach a lot is commitment and consistency, because I think commitment is something that is kind of disappearing in our society, to be honest, unfortunately. And he's one of the most committed kids I've ever coached. I don't know if you know this. He still lives at Leo, and he makes the 40-minute trek every day back and forth. I refuse to ever be one of those coaches that says, hey, you need to come to Bellmont. And I won't do that. Maybe I should this day and age. It seems like everybody, but I don't want to do that. I want to coach kids who want to be a part of our program. And he was one that made the decision. He wanted to make the most out of his wrestling career, and to drive that far on a daily basis, it speaks volumes. But he also he not only makes the drive, but his work ethic, his off-season training, everything about Gavin, his drilling, his intensity, his leadership this year has taken a whole new level. Since we graduated a good group, he's really stepped up, and I just love the kid. That's the next kid. I got to put him in a big college. He hasn't decided yet, but we got Ike Keegan Duke up next. Needs to be Gavin, and I know any school would be so happy to get a kid like this, because he's got the talent, but more so he wants it, and he wants it bad.
Yeah, and that's important these days, are to have, a good influence in the locker room. When coach isn't around, to have good guys around your guys for sure.
Sure. Yep. And he's ornery, but it's a good ornery. He knows where that line is. But those are my favorites, the little ornery farts that are ready to get after it, and but they're respectful. And again, back to that, having a platform and knowing little kids are looking to you, he abides by that well. And I'm excited for this post-season run for him to keep rolling.
Coach, how many players do you have that drive in from outside of Decatur to be a part of the program?
It's just Gavin. We've had some over the years that have driven a little bit, but none to the extent of Gavin.
He's always been a part of your club, right? Like I've always heard that, like he went to Bellmont's youth club and all that stuff. Like, so he's been doing that forever.
Yeah, it wasn't our youth club, like the Decatur Wrestling Club. I have an academy in the off season, I call it Madman, and it just basically gives area kids an opportunity to battle in the off season. And Gavin started coming, which they'll come from South Adams, Adams Central, some close Ohio teams, but never as far as Leo. And then when he came, it was like, wow, this kid, he really wants to get good. And he was one of the most consistent ones, and had to make that drive all the time. So that spoke volumes when he was, a sixth grader.
Well, Coach, before I leave, you are the principal at the elementary school there in Decatur?
I'm the assistant principal, the elementary, and I'm the middle school athletic director, high school wrestling coach. So I get all three buildings.
So then I'm pretty sure that most of the administration will look to you when it comes to disciplinary actions.
Well, that's the thing. My high school wrestlers can't get away with anything, because I can look up anything on them, their grades, their discipline. But I love being able to be in all three buildings and just kind of oversee all my little Braves. So it's fun.
Gives you a first crack at recruiting.
Yeah. No
Getting
kidding.
those ears early, that's for sure.
Boy,
Exactly.
putting in the work,
Exactly.
man, from sun up to sundown.
Yeah. You don't see daylight too often this time of year, but that's all right. It's worth it. Kids are worth it.
Well, Coach, I had a legendary football coach tell me one time that recruiting is like shaving. If you don't do it every day, you'll look like a bum.
Hey, I like that. That's true, though. That's very true. Yep. Good call.
That was head coach John Thorne, coached Wheaton Warrenville South in Illinois, and then is the master behind North Central College in their football program.
Gotcha. I like it.
They've won a couple national titles. They got a good wrestling program over there as well. Well, Coach, was there anything else that you wanted to add before Bryce and I cut you loose?
I don't think so, but this is the first time I've tuned into this. I like this, fellas.
Well, we'll have to, maybe we'll do a wrestling roundtable in the off season, get some of you great coaches on there. And, Bryce and I are really trying to, we just want to see this area succeed in wrestling, to its highest potential. And, it seems like for the past 20, 30 years, Bellmont has been that stable force, but outside of Bellmont, it's been tough to keep things rolling.
Yeah, well, with guys like you out there, it's going to help. I promise. So I do. I really appreciate this, and I've enjoyed it, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart.
Hey, we appreciate you coming on.
Absolutely, guys. Anytime, and thanks for all you do, and I mean it.
Well, Coach, we wish you and all your wrestlers the best of luck this Saturday at the Coliseum. It's going to be a packed house. It's going to be intense. If you've never been to a wrestling match at Bellmont, I mean, Garrett does a great job too. But that Bellmont Adams Central duel where the gym gets packed,
dude.
I mean, I don't care who you are, and if you like wrestling or not, you will get goosebumps. It is really intense and exciting.
I watched online this year. I'm going next year. It looks awesome, man. It looks awesome.
Yeah. Well, I brought the Adams Central one. I brought back all of our former state champs last year and recognized them.
Oh, nice.
I did runners up this year against another team. Next year against AC, I'm going to keep going down the line. I'll bring back all our third placers next year. So hopefully we can get another crowd like that. That was a neat night.
Yeah, and Bryce had mentioned it earlier. We show here that Coach Myers took 6th place in the 103-pound weight class in 1992, took first in 93 and 94, then second in 1995. Are there any Bellmont alumni that have 3 wrestling state titles under their belt?
No. We have 13 state titles, individual state titles. I'm the only one that has 2.
Is that a Fargo national championship?
Yeah, I won Fargo cadets before it was Fargo, and then I got 7th at juniors.
Wow, that's
my
impressive.
senior year.
That's insane. I did not know that about you. That's there's probably less than like 10 Indiana kids that have done that.
That was a good day. Good couple days.
Even 7th place. I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah, that wasn't too bad either.
Well done.
Yeah. Well, thanks. It's been fun. But it's, you know what though? It's more fun when you coach somebody to success. It really is to see their joy, and then you know what it feels like, and I don't know. It's just neat. You don't even have to say anything. You just give them that smile, and they know it, and you know it, and it's a pretty neat feeling.
Well, you do a good job of it. That's for sure.
Yeah, your mentoring certainly helped this past Saturday. So congratulations, Coach. Once again, a huge team victory for you guys. over Delta there at regionals. And once again, we just wish you all the best of luck this Saturday at the Coliseum.
Appreciate it, fellas. Again, thanks for all you do. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep.
Well, Bryce, I feel like his guys are overachieving right now, kind of wrestling their best. If you look at these rankings and just take the heavyweight class, Grady Baker is ranked at number 8, I believe, in the Fort Wayne semi-state. And, now coming off that big regional win, and that's a pretty fun heavyweight class. Isaiah Kuhlman's pretty much been ranked number 1 all season long there from Leo.
Yeah, he's taken a loss the last 2 weeks though. Caleb Evans has taken him down, and man, I looking at your results. Grady Baker, it was a 4-1 match, so that means he lost. He got it. Kuhlman took Baker down, but other than that, it must have been really close. It's and heavyweights, man, it's different, dude. It's a lot of the matches are pretty tight, so it's anyone's game.
Oh man, what did I do with that Jay County? I just wanted to pull that up real quick. There you see that was from the Northeast 8.
Okay.
And wow, East Noble's up there at 180. But I was looking at East Noble's individual matches there, and here we are. So if we go to the results, and we'll just go on the brackets. Start with 165. Riley Biddle, the quarterback. You can see he lost in the semifinals here, 13-10. But then a tech fall in the 3rd place match. You could tell he was a little upset.
Yeah, and I have him picked to go too. He's who does he have in the ticket round? I was just looking at that.
Yeah, and that would be right.
Oh, he has Godinez. His first match is going to be really tough. He has the number 2 ranked kid in the semi-state. His first match, that's crazy. That's one of the toughest first round matches. Number 2 versus number 3 in the semi-state, and you got to win your first 2 to make it to state.
At semi-state.
So, yeah, semi-state is fun, man. It's a long day. Apparently you have plans in Marion. I was like, I think we have an extra ticket. We always get a suite. So I was gonna see if you wanted to come, but so you got some good basketball plans.
Oh, yeah, and I have women's lacrosse before that. But yeah, I was looking for the semi-state. I've got last year's pulled up.
Oh, dude, if you want a good semi-state bracket, go to the home page of the Indiana Mat. Yep, just go to home page. Go to the scroll down a little bit. Semi-state info center. Yep.
Everything you need to know.
Dude, well, the brackets have the rankings. They have the state rankings. Oh, not those brackets. Go back. And then hit the PDF. Yeah, Joe Caprino, he's one of my old coaches, dude. He does an incredible job with the brackets. It's got the state ranking and the semi-state ranking right next to the wrestlers. What'd it do? Oh, it downloaded it for you, didn't it?
Yeah, downloaded the PDF, but we'll pull these up so you can talk about them for a second if you have a little bit of time.
Oh, yeah.
But Juliana Ocampo ranked number 1. I believe it was her dad, but he was on Bellmont's all-time wrestling list.
Yep. The Ocampos went to Bellmont, man. There was a couple Ocampo names, but yeah, Sam went to a Bellmont. I think he placed twice. But yeah, her in the she's definitely going to get through as long as she just wrestles out she knows. I was a little upset that the Wicker kid from Delta is in the same side, though. I think they're the 2 best, like hands down. So it'd be better if they faced in the finals.
And Ramon Sierra's up there too from Garrett, correct?
Yeah, his first round match is going to be one of the tougher ones. If he wins that, I think he's going to punch his ticket to state.
Wow, and Joseph Warner also on that side of the bracket.
Yep.
It really doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't seem like. I know Wicker being over there with Juliana. I mean, there's tough guys on both sides. It seems.
Yeah, Joseph Warner. It's crazy, man. His only 2 losses are to the two girls in the state.
Oh wow.
It's yeah, but they're good, man. Both those girls have been to state. at least 2 times each. Juliana being a placer, you know, and number 1 in the state right now. So they're losses, but they're good losses, you know. Those girls are tough.
Well, yeah, no doubt about it. Juliana right now sitting with a 44-0 record. On to the 113-pound weight class.
Yeah, this one breaks my heart a little bit.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm sorry, what was that?
I said this one breaks my heart a little bit just because, you know, Swarthwood losing to the scale last weekend. Rex Moore's only loss is to Garrett's Abram Swarthwood at 113.
Oh, wow. So, yeah, you had told me that a couple Garrett wrestlers did not make weight at regional.
Yeah, well, one at sectional, one at regional. Yeah, it sucks, but you know, we're gonna learn, you know. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. But yeah, I think Rex Moore is definitely the favorite to win that. But again, it's all about the draw. It kind of sucks because I feel like Rex Moore and the Cade Jackson from Delta, they're on the same side of the bracket, and I feel like they are the 2 best in that weight class right now at that weight in the semi-state.
Wow. Yeah. Rex Moore, 43-1 record. Cade Jackson at 30-6. But obviously, coming from that Delta program, you know that he's wrestling top-notch competition all season long.
Absolutely. Yeah. Delta's hammers down low, man.
Here's another Delta guy ranked number 1, Aiden Bollinger.
Yeah, he is tough. That kid is good. He's top 4 in the state.
Levi Johns from Bluffton, ranked number 2.
Yep, he's been to state, I think 3 times now. Seems like I feel like I've been watching him for 8 years.
Oh, wow. 126-pound weight class. This one has Coach Meyer's son in the weight class. Gabe is ranked number 9.
Yeah, he's got a tough one. He's got Sean Harris first round, which my boy Cameron Baker from Garrett actually, I don't want to say pulled the upset against Sean Harris, but he beat Sean Harris. So Sean Harris isn't one of the top 4 seeds, but I definitely think he will make it to the finals.
Sean Harris.
Hickson Love, he's only got 1 loss from Marion in the middle of the bracket. His only loss is to Sean Harris.
Oh, wow. And they're on the same side of the bracket. Who's strong here on the north side of it?
I'd say Cameron Baker. He's taken some losses, but man, his losses are to Sean Harris. He lost in overtime to Dakota Sprunger. He's definitely got to still wrestle really tough, but I think Cameron Baker and Dakota Sprunger, those would be my 2 picks to make it from the top side.
Baker from Garrett and Sprunger from South Adams. 132-pound weight class. Drew Walden, ranked number 2 from DeKalb.
Yeah, I've been waiting for him. He's been hurt most of the season, but I think he came back at either like maybe he just came back for sectionals. Hasn't lost though, man. The kid's tough. He's been to state before. I plan on him going again.
Yeah, and I remember you saying that at the duel with Garrett, we were expecting a really good match with him, and that match ended up not happening.
Yeah, he just wasn't in the lineup. He must have had some early season injuries, but from what I hear, he's getting better every weekend.
And boy, these Delta guys are all over the place. Sam Mosier, ranked number 3.
He's tough.
Hunter Douglas from Homestead, ranked number 1.
Yeah, Hunter Douglas, he went to state last year. He for Norwell, actually. It's crazy. I knew this, but I didn't. I don't know why I didn't register that. Andy has not yet to have a state placer or state qualifier. Andy Overland from Homestead. And I'm like, dang, he's got the best team in the semi-state right now.
Wow. Yeah, and he's in his 4th year coaching.
4th or 5th, yeah.
5th. I think 2020 was his first season. So, well, that's exciting. So he's never had a wrestler down at state. This year, he makes it to team state, and now he could have multiple wrestlers.
Dude, if I could just talk about them for a second, like I thought they were going to be lucky to get 11 kids to semi-state. They got 13. That means they only lost 1 kid. So they still have 13 kids wrestling. I think there's only like 1 other program in the state that has all 14 going to semi-state, and Homestead's taking 13. So they have a very, very good chance to, win semi-state this weekend, which is just awesome.
Yeah, and you heard Coach Myers talking about it. I mean, if anybody knows the level of discipline and just stick to itiveness, I mean, I don't know how else to say it, but it is a super grind to have a successful program. It really doesn't matter what sport it is, and it totally starts at the lower levels with the youth. And, Coach Myers had to give a shout out to Andy and just the job he's doing there at Homestead, but not only Homestead with his, the Fort program. I mean, literally you're working from the time you wake up until the time you go to bed.
Absolutely, man. Dude, I can't say enough about like Andy Oberlin, Tim Myers, Coach Kraus. Dude, there is no off season to them. And I know other coaches and stuff, but man, it's every Saturday, all summer, all fall.
Yeah.
Like, and then every night, man, they're doing something. There's no breaks for those good teams, It's just it could be a middle schooler, it could be an elementary schooler, but you're going to see those guys there, and it shows the programs are good every year in, year out.
Well, now we'll move on. We talked about Dylan Ogg a little bit from Adams Central, and he's ranked number 2. We talked about him earlier in the broadcast. Carter Krause from Snider ranked number 3 here in the 138-pound class. But Goni from Cohen is ranked number 1, another kid from the Muncie area.
Yeah, Goni got beat pretty good last year by last weekend. Who beat him? Was it? You gotta go to the top of the bracket. That's who beat him.
Top of this bracket?
Yeah, or no, it wasn't him. Who's the Goshen? You know that bracket you had up. Dang it.
You're not talking about, is it this one right here? Andrew Wilson.
No, Dylan Ogg. Dylan Ogg beat Goni pretty good. I know he's Goni was number 1, but
that was our Jay County regional.
Yeah, Jay County. My bad. Yeah, Goni got beat pretty good there. Ogg's tough, and I know Henry Farrow. He's tough as nails too. That kid went to state last year. He's impressive. Really good on his feet. But yeah, I think Ogg's beaten him like 3 times this year.
Yeah, 8-3 decision. That sounds like a pretty solid win right there. And you can see Groney with a tech fall.
Yeah, in the semis. But yeah, look, Ogg Tech Farrow's the one that beat Goni.
10-1.
Yeah. I know Goni got beat pretty good, like in the semis. But I'm real excited for the Farrow and Tholner match right there. And that'd be the quarter bracket. So one of those kids is gonna go to state. It's going to be a good match. It's one I've had circled since I saw the brackets come out.
Malachi Tholner from New Haven and Farrow from Bellmont.
Almost identical records.
Wow, and that match is not going to take long for that match to get going. 144-pound weight class.
I think the Hagwood boy is going to win that one. He's always been fun to watch. They're twins. One's at 144, one's at 157. If you can tell them apart, let me know.
Brody Hagwood, ranked number 2, going up against a Southside wrestler, Mackay Pinkston.
Yeah, dude. Southside showed up a little bit.
Well, it's good to see. Good for them. AJ Heskett, ranked number 6 from Jay County. How about Kendi Coy, ranked number 3 from Snider?
He has turned it on, man. I think him being a little later in the season, he's gotten a little more of a gas tank. Because I remember when we broadcasted New Haven and Snider, Coy was winning, and then Tholner came back third period. I think took him down 2-3 times and ended up beating him.
Yeah, which was probably the best match on the night, don't you think?
Yeah, it was an awesome match.
So yeah, we know he can grind. It's gonna be a fun weight class right there. The 144-pound now into 150. Lincoln Carter from Eastside, the running back, only a sophomore. It was fun to listen to Coach Myers talk about. He never wants to dissuade his athletes from playing multiple sports, and I think that's great. But Lincoln Carter, when you watch him run the football, think of Dylan Krell. I mean, these guys will hit you at about 2 feet off the ground. They get so low to the ground. And I can't tell you as a defender how hard it is to bring down guys like that. But yeah, Lincoln Carter's ranked number 2, a 24-1 record. And excuse me, he's a junior, actually, not a sophomore.
Yeah, he took his first loss this past weekend. He lost to Doster.
Yeah, that's
Pretty
tough.
good match, though.
Doster, who's going to Rutgers, 35-0.
Yeah, and he's a returning state champion. I think he might be the only number 1 ranked. Or no, him and Juliana. It's crazy. They're both from New Haven. They're the 2 overall number 1 ranked people in the state. But yeah, I think Lincoln Carter. He'll have Elijah Gall, who's 44-0. I'm gonna pick Carter to go back to he'll be in the finals against I think we see a rematch of last weekend against Easton Doster.
Him and Doster. Wow, Gall is 44-0 on the season, just a sophomore.
Yeah, he's tough, dude. His sister is who the Reagan Trenery girl from Garrett, one of our girl state champs. The Trenery girl had to avenge 2 losses to beat his sister in the state championship match.
Oh, wow.
So it's pretty cool, brother and sister just kicking butt.
See Dallas Davidson here from Angola. You know, Angola had a nice showing at regional.
Dude, Angola's got some individuals, man. They got some tough kids.
We're going to move on to the 157-pound weight class. And
I got to talk about Brian Barrett, Garrett boy, of course, but man, he's been one of my favorite wrestlers to watch this year. With our 2 wrestlers out, I was a little worried about Garrett not making it to state, but Brian is, man, he has just turned it on. He's been fun to watch. So I'm hoping he punches his ticket, makes it to at least the semifinals. Then he's gonna have Jackson Bradley. That's going to be a tough one. But yeah, Brian Barrett, he's been a blast to watch. And if you saw him last year compared to this year, it's way different.
yeah, and he's got Evan Duncan, a senior, 32-4 on the season from Winchester.
Yeah, so it's the number 9 and 10 ranked kids in the semi-state.
Very nice. And on the opposite end,
the other Hagwood brother.
In Dubach.
Yep. I'd say those 2 would both make it to state.
Yeah, so both of those guys will be in the semifinals. Basically, everybody that makes it in the semifinals is going to state.
Yep, top 4. Yep, and there's no wrestleback, so it kind of sucks because a lot of good wrestlers don't make it to state. If you read the forums that people are always talking like, man, we need wrestlebacks. Like our best wrestlers aren't making it to state because it's all about that draw, you know.
Do you think wrestlebacks will happen in the future?
No, not anytime soon. It's just, dude, there's been they bring it up to the IHSA every year, and the IHSA is like, I'm not really sure what their argument is, but their argument, I think it is, we crown the best wrestler just like we crown the state champion in football, you know. So they want to know who the state champion is, but they're leaving out a lot of good wrestlers. And not to down the 4-win semi-state, but man, if you go to the Evansville semi-state, there's some top 5 kids that are wrestling each other first round.
No, I understand what you're saying. So basically, it's a way for a kid in a loaded semi-state to make his way to state.
More of an unloaded semi-state like ours, you know, like you're going to have some unranked kids out of Fort Wayne that are going to make it to state. And not saying not saying they shouldn't be ranked either, but it's just.
No, I understand. 165-pound class. Tegan Kloss has been solid from West Noble, but he comes in at number 4. Gavin Davis at number 1. We heard Coach talk about him. You got Dallas Woodson, who's unranked, but it seems like at times can wrestle as good as anybody.
Yeah.
In this bracket, Riley Biddle has got Monroe Central Ullman in his first match.
Yeah, and I think Godinez, I think he got like 2nd or 3rd at sectionals, and then he ended up winning regionals last weekend. So, but
Carson Godinez from Homestead.
Yeah, See what I mean about the draws? Riley Biddle and the Jeremiah Olam are going to wrestle each other first round. They're both state ranked and number 2 and 3 in the semi-state. One of those kids is not making it to state.
Yeah, exactly. But also, it seems like those rankings, the individual rankings for the semi, haven't changed in like a month or two.
Well, they won't change after sectionals. They don't change.
Yeah, but I guess Kuhlman lost those matches at the regional. So
Sectional and regional, yeah, those are his only 2 losses.
But once again, another good weight class here, and it's not going to take long for there to be some fireworks. The Tegan Klaus and Gavin Davis could be a really nice match as well.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Klaus is 36-2 on the season.
Yeah, and Davis's his only loss, he got hurt. So.
Oh, the one loss for Gavin.
Yeah, I think it was at the Al Smith Invitational. I think he got hurt during that loss. So.
I don't remember who coach said that was against. Jake Thrash, ranked number 2 for Homestead in 175.
Yeah, he's my pick. Well, actually, Stebbins is going to be my overall pick, but Thrash is going to make it to state.
Stebbins 31-4, number 1 ranked from Delta.
Thrash. I heard he's a pretty good pitcher too. I think he's like a left-handed pitcher for Delta. I heard he's pretty good.
Oh wow, on the baseball team. Dallas Plattner, a wrestler from East Noble, ranked number 3.
Yep. So again, the draw, it comes down to Stebbins or Plattner. One of them is going to make it state.
Well, that is crazy because that's going to happen there in the quarterfinals.
Yep. So whoever wins that match.
Oh, that is tough then. So is it a blind draw?
No, it'd be easier if I was with you to see how it works, but you see the top of each quarter bracket. That's the kid who won the regional. So Jake Thrash, Dominic Dunn,
gotcha.
Cabe Stebbins, and then Jordan Simone.
Yeah, because Plattner took 3rd.
Yep. So yeah, it even says Jay County 1, Peru 4.
Yeah.
And it's random. Each weight class is different. Like, so 175, the Carroll 1 draws into the Goshen 4. And it's different every year. There's been scandals where like kids knew what was going to happen before, so they'd lose a match. Oh, it's wild, dude. They don't let you know till like Monday morning now. And when I was in school, I think I knew after my finals match who I was going to wrestle, and then some regionals were still wrestling. So if they knew, then they're like, oh shoot, I'm better off if I draw into the Goshen. I need to lose this match.
Oh my gosh. Hey, Wes Somerset from South Adams. He's just a sophomore. I mean, he turned it on last year in the football season. Remember, South Adams made it to semi-state in football.
Yeah.
His older brother was just yoked up. I mean, a big, strong dude.
Yeah, that's Somerset's name. That's been at South Adams for a little bit. I wouldn't put it past that kid making it too.
Wow. Unranked. He's got Jordan Simone from North Miami.
North Miami's tough, though, this year. I really haven't heard much about them, but they were the 1A state champs. So.
Oh, yeah, and power ranking-wise, they're in the top 5 with Bellmont and Delta and Homestead. New Haven on there as well. 190.
Yeah, this I think Xavier Palacios for Bellmont and the Farnell kid who's undefeated from Mechaniqua. Those would be my 2 big picks.
And there's Farnell right there. Yeah. Ranked number 1, a senior, 43-0.
Yeah, he had a brother that was really tough too.
This is a fun matchup. Dylan Krell versus AJ Myers, two running backs for their respective football teams.
Yeah, and the number 9 and 10 in the semi-state. That'll be a good one.
Well, I guess I never asked Coach Tim Myers if he's related to AJ Myers, but
well, I'm curious because Jay County's head coach, his last name's Myers as well.
That'll be for another show.
Yeah, true. I'm curious. I don't know.
215-pound weight class.
Did I haven't seen him wrestle yet, but I've heard a lot about this Travis Henke kid from Northridge.
34-0.
I'm excited to see him.
And Northridge did win the Goshen Regional.
Yeah, their upper weights are really good.
He went through Brady King from Northwood, who took third at Goshen, and Derek Morrison from Wawasee.
Yep.
Here's another North Miami guy in Hartley Hoover.
Yeah, dang, 39-1.
Say Sovion Harris from Northside making it. He's a defensive lineman on the football team.
He looked good last weekend.
Oh, good for him. And then Aiden Hunt from Garrett.
Yeah, dude. Well, he was beating the Northside kid by maybe 8 points. And then the Harris boy put him on his back and pinned him. Won. I was so mad at Aiden.
Wow.
I was yeah, kind of, because I really wanted to see him and that Leal kid from Snider wrestle, but guess not.
Well, Harris, say Sovion Harris from Northside, his brother is an All-American track athlete at Indiana Tech.
Yeah, kid was an athlete.
So then, and then the heavyweight class, which could be the most exciting on the day there at the Coliseum. Evans ranked number 2.
He's probably the favorite, though. He's beaten Kuhlman twice now. This kid from Peru, this Trevi Hillman Conley, he's really tough too. It really sucks because him and Kuhlman are in the same quarter bracket, but I feel like they are both top 5 in the state.
Wow, Isaiah Kuhlman from Leo, and you said his only 2 losses have come the last 2 weekends, right?
Yeah, to Evans.
And both of those coming to Caleb Evans. So Evans definitely wrestling his best, the senior at 285.
Yeah.
I know there was another Homestead wrestler, the freshman. Was he a 215 or a 190?
190 Barr. Is he? Yeah, John
Barr.
Bear or whatever. Yeah, he's he's gonna have. He's got Palacios. Man, that's gonna be a tough one to overcome. But dude, he's only a freshman. It's crazy.
Yeah, and at that size, I feel like it might be easier for a guy to stay at 190 than it would be for them to stay at 103 or one of the smaller weight classes.
Oh yeah. And I think that kid's probably going to keep growing. I heard the way Andy talked, he loved football. I think his dad was like a really good athlete too. So that kid I could see being 215 either next year or as a junior.
Somebody just told me that Homestead had a freshman commit in football, like already college commit. I wonder if that's him.
Wow. It could be, man. The kid was good.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
I'll have to do some research. Well, shoot, Bryce, thanks again for talking some wrestling, and a huge thank you to Tim Myers. And we also had Reggie Tharp, the girls basketball coach from Snider, and JJ Foster, the boys basketball coach from Southside, join us tonight. It's been a good show, and obviously we spent a little bit of extra time here with semi-state wrestling, but this is a big weekend in Fort Wayne, and it's going to be a fun 2 weeks here to see how everything unfolds. So
yeah, Bryce, if you're not doing anything, come out to the Coliseum. Starts at 9
a.m. and you'll have a spot at your suite for whoever wants to join.
if you're not taking it, I got to give it up to someone else. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I would love to. Maybe I could get there a little early for a little bit, but I'll let you know. Bryce Schindel, former Garrett wrestling coach, now a wrestling commentator.
Working on it.
Yeah, no, you do a great job. Well, thanks, Bryce, and thanks everybody for tuning in. Until next time, have a wonderful weekend and enjoy the basketball regional, all the regular season boys basketball. Shoot, we got gymnastics sectionals coming up here in a little bit, but that semi-state at Fort Wayne is going to be a special day. So enjoy that, everyone. And Bryce, you enjoy as well and have a great weekend.
Yep, you too.
Well, thanks, everybody. that was another episode of the Summit City Sports Report. So until next week, I don't know how many times I've said this, but have a great weekend.
White Shoes Kelly Chevrolet. We offer a wide selection of new and used inventory with a team that guides you to your perfect fit. Our certified pre-owned options ensure peace of mind with warranties and rigorous inspections. Competitive pricing, flexible financing, and convenient trade and services, making your dream Chevrolet a reality. Trust our experienced service team to keep your vehicle in top shape, and enjoy free car washes as long as you own your vehicle.
Anderson Heating and Air, locally owned and operated with over 50 years of experience. Call us today and get a free quote on a brand new furnace and AC, financed and available. Don't wait. Call us today and sign up for a maintenance agreement and stay cool. Our maintenance agreements will ensure that you're first in line if you have an emergency, and we'll send one of our service techs out for cleanings twice a year. Call us at 557-0958 or request an appointment on our website. Call Anderson Heating and Air, where your emergency is our emergency.
Thank you for watching Summit City Sports. To help broaden our coverage, we're asking you to become a monthly sponsor to our Patreon account. We produce weekly highlights and live video broadcast. When the Homestead Girls Golf Team won its first state title in program history, we were there. When Fort Wayne brought back 3 state titles in cross country, we were there. We believe in sharing positive stories.